Hello everyone, and welcome to the video on Introduction to Programming. Today's goal is to do an in-depth study of what computer programming is, and we'll cover the topics of computer science, programming, coding, and what programming languages exist out in the world, and to talk about what an IDE is. So let's start off with what is computer science. Computer science is the study of computer and computational system focusing on theory, design, development, and applications related to computers and software. And as a computer scientist, your goal is to first understand computer science design, to understand design of programs, to understand computational thinking, and ultimately to solve problems by using computers and computer science itself. Then let's talk about what programming is. Programming is the act of creating a set of instructions for a computer to execute. And these are the steps that are taken by a programmer. A programmer first wants to understand a given problem. Then they want to create or devise a solution for the problem. Then they formulate their solution into a set of instructions that a computer can follow. Then they allow the computer to execute their plan or their solution or the instructions to solve the given problem. And to do this, you need to know what coding is. Coding is the act of converting one language to another. So for example, Morse code is a signal-based language that is converted from spoken language. So code is translated instructions from a set of requirements. So for a computer to do or to solve problems that a programmer designed, they need a source code. A source code is a code written by a programmer that a computer will follow. It is usually written in human-readable instructional language called programming language, and it will need to be translated to machine-level code. And what is machine-level code? It is a set of instruction data is understood by a CPU. It is a high-level code will be translated to machine-level code so that the computer will be able to perform a program's instruction. It's not to say that a human can't code in machine-level code, but it is very difficult to program it. So to talk about the translation that is happening from source code to machine-level code, there are two types of terminology that we have to understand. First is an interpreter-based code and a compiler-based code. So first, interpreter translate one statement at a time. This takes less time to analyze the source code, but takes longer execution time to execute the code. It is more memory efficient compared to compiler code, and it stops only when an error is found, so it's easier to debug. Whereas a compiler converts the entire program to machine-level code. Therefore, it takes longer time to analyze the source code, but there is a shorter execution time. Since we convert the entire program to machine-level code, it will generate something called an object code, so it takes up more memory. And lastly, in terms of errors, errors only found after scanning the entire code, so it does take longer and is harder to debug a compiled-based code than an interpreted code. So speaking of all this code, we need programming languages to create our code. So what is a programming language? It is a formal language that is readable by humans so that it will ease the communication between the computer. So let's talk about the creation and execution of a program. First, we have programming languages and we use it to code a source code. Then the source code with our operating system will be translated to machine-level code so that our computers can understand and execute the solution that a programmer has devised. Then that solution is executed by the computer and we'll go through that back up the computational flow to see what happened. And let's talk about the uses of programming languages. First, we use programming languages to create programs to control the behavior of a computer, or we use programming languages to create algorithms or express algorithms. Algorithms are a sequence of actions that solves a problem. It performs calculation, data processing, automated reasoning tasks, and many more things that our algorithm or our problem may need. So let's talk about some of the example of programming languages out there. Just like spoken language, there are many different types of languages out there. Right now, the general languages that are popular are Python, Java, Ruby, Scala, Go, C#, and Swift. For web development, there are HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP. For system languages, we have C, C++, Assembly, and Rust. For scripting and shell-based languages, we have Bash and PowerShell. And for science-related stuff, we have MATLAB and R. And right now, a language that you want to watch for, especially in the Android world, is called Kotlin. And if we want to code using programming languages, you might be interested in an IDE. Integrated Development Environment is an IDE. It stands for IDE, and it's an application for software that provides the programmers the tool for software development, and usually includes a source code editor, tools to make automations, a debugger so you can find errors, and organizational tools so that you can keep your code all organized and nice. Some of the examples are Microsoft Visual Studio, NetBeans, Eclipse, and Xcode, which is found for Apple-based developers. If you just need a code editor and you don't need a full-on IDE, you can use Notepad++, Sublime Text, Atom, Vim, and Emacs, and even just Notepad as well. So today we talked about study of computer programming, where we talked about computer science, programming, and what is coding, and different types of programming languages out there. Thank you for watching, and stay classy.